Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Follow me to Turkey today as I try one of the local Manti recipes, Yoğurtlu Mantı, Manti in yogurt sauce. These dumplings are enjoyed from Central Asia to the Balkans with many different shapes, sizes, condiments, fillings and cooking methods. This one is the Turkish take on Manti. I tried them in Istanbul, but this is the first time I make them myself. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to use 250 grams of flour. Mine has to be gluten-free, but you can use all-purpose. I add half a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and 100 milliliters of water. I can see that it will need some more, so I add 20 milliliters. You might not need this extra water with all-purpose wheat flour, but I suggest that you do add a bit if you feel that the dough is too dry. After kneading it for 7 or 8 minutes, I cover it so it doesn't dry out, and I start working on the filling. First of all, I grate an onion into a bowl. Then I add 200 grams of minced beef after I chopped it to a finer grind. I also add half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of cumin powder, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and a pinch of black pepper. Once it's all mixed together well, I set it aside so I can roll the dough. It doesn't have to be too thin for Turkish manti, which is actually good news if you're using fragile gluten-free flour like I am. Now I can divide the first sheet into squares, about 4 centimeters per side. I place a little bit of meat on each square, and then I fold the edges to close the dumplings into the classic Turkish manti shape. Basically, I seal 2 opposite corners and then the other 2. You can also wet the corners with a little water to help them stick together. This obviously requires quite some patience, but imagine that they can even be made in smaller sizes than this. It took me over an hour in total, but I'm finally done. As you can see, I didn't quite manage to keep them all of the same size, but still, they look pretty nice to me. I get a pot with salted water on the hob, and while I wait for it to start boiling, I take about 250 grams of yogurt. I add a minced garlic clove, a pinch of salt, and then I throw in half a little boiling water from the pot to make the sauce thinner. Now I'm ready to cook my manti. After about 4 minutes, my manti are done, but you better check one before you drain all of them. And bear in mind that wheat flour manti might take a bit less. And now the last step. I melt a couple of tablespoons of butter until it starts bubbling up. Then I turn off the heat and I mix in a teaspoon of chili powder as a substitute for Aleppo chili, which is what they would normally use in Turkey. You can also use cayenne pepper or smoked paprika instead. So let's pour some of the yogurt sauce on top, then the melted butter, some dry mint, and some sumac. Isn't it mouth-watering? Despite the dough being gluten-free, this manti turned out almost perfect in texture, soft but chewy, and they didn't break when cooking. And I love the slight touch of acidity and the creaminess of this yogurt sauce mixed with melted butter and spices. So was it worth it? Well, they're definitely delicious, but it took me almost an hour and a half between rolling the dough and shaping these little things. Maybe I just need more practice? What do you think? Are you going to make them? Maybe you can easily buy freshly made manti where you live and just make the yogurt sauce? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. So, where are we going next?